All right, hey everyone, we're going to work on the first couple of assignments from Programming with Microsoft Visual Basic 2019-2022. If you click on this Read Chapter 1, it'll open up the book here in a new tab. And we're going to start with 1.1, 1.2, the Florist project. So back to the book, if we come down to exercises, we see, so 1.1 is Chapter 1, Exercise 1. And exercise 2. So exercise 2, we need to complete exercise 1 first. So let's get to it. I'm going to create a Windows Form application. So I need to run Visual Studio 2019. And I'm going to create a new project. All right, let me see here. I want to see if we have any specific naming. Use the following: project, Florist project, and Florist solution. All right, we're going to keep that in mind. So our type of project is going to be a Windows Form app with .NET framework. So there's a few different ways we can look for this. First of all, we want to make sure we're in Visual Basic. So choose that from this first drop down because we do not want to create the wrong type of project. And we need a Windows Form app. So this looks really good, right? Windows Form app VB, but we need the Windows Form app with the .NET framework. Okay, so make sure you're choosing Windows Forms app .NET framework, and you see a little VB in the corner there. All right, project name. If you remember, project name is going to be Florist. And solution name, they're saying Florist as the solution name as well. I'm going to check this box here, place solution and project in same directory, because there's only going to be one project in this solution. All right, you can choose the type of .NET framework. 4.7.2 is fine. I wouldn't go before 4.7, and whatever. If you have something later than that, you can choose that. Not a big deal. Oh, and make sure you're saving this in the right location. I forgot to mention that. I'm saving this to my OneDrive so I can access it both at home and from school. All right, so we have our application open, and I'm going to actually take this window. So hopefully you have this open, and I'm just going to move it to my other screen so I can keep both these open. All right, it's not so important that you see the assignment right now. What's important is that you're watching Visual Studio. And this is my first time working through one of these projects from this book. All right, I've been teaching VB.NET for a while, but finally found an updated textbook, so we're using this one. So here we go. Change the form's name to mainform.vb. So I'm going to take this form 1. I'm going to hit F2, and that allows me to rename it. Another way to rename is click it, and I think you can click and wait. There we go. If I clicked again, it finally came up. Or you can right-click on this and rename, all right, which is the same as hitting F2. And we're going to call this main form. And so that's done. That was 1A. 1B, change the form's name property to FRM main. So I'm going to take this form here. I have the form checked. I'm going to go to properties, and I have the properties sorted alphabetically. It's going to be easier to find things this way. And despite being alphabetical, name is not in where you would expect the ends to be in this alphabetical list. It's actually at the close to the very top, okay, because name is required, so they put it in parentheses up here. And we're going to call this FRM main. So I change that. FRM is the prefix for your Windows forms. All right, change the form's font property to, I don't know if I could say what this is. Maybe this is Segway. I don't know. So I'm going to open up the font. So I click the little plus before it. And the font that we're choosing is, into the S. Can I hit S? Okay, I did. It jumped me down there. Segway UI and 9 points. So there we go. Now our font says Segway UI 9 points. change the form's maximize box property to false. Maximize box, set it to false. All right, so far, like, we're making changes to this code. And I'm going to just save this real quick. Control S to save. I'm making changes to the code, but I haven't written any code. All right, this is all being done through Visual Studio. Change the form start position. This is part E, by the way. The form start position to center screen. Love it. I like my form starting in the middle of the screen. And the text property to Florist Haven. Oh, this is the name of the florist. All right, Florist Haven. So we did that. Now we need to add a button to the form. So there's, I'm going to let me close most of these here. Everything open. Okay, we're going to look in common controls and we have a button. So I'm going to drag this over and now we have a button on our form. This is G of 1. All right. Add a button to the form, change the button's name and text properties. So the name is going to be BTN exit. So make sure this button is checked or is selected. And then same thing with the properties, BTN exit. All right, we're on the properties tab here. And the text of this is E&XIT. And you don't see me or hear me typing these things. That's because I am just pasting, copy and paste right from the book. Okay. Position the button in the lower right corner of the form. Good enough. Oh, they want it like really lower right. Okay, put it down there. I think my form's going to be too big right now. So we'll be moving things around later on. Add 3 picture boxes to the form. 1, 2, 3. All right, just drag them on there. Picture box 1, that's this one, and it actually is picture box 1, should display the image stored in the florist.ping file. So I think if I click on the image property and I hit this button, I'm going to import the image. I have this all in this chapter 1 directory. I probably have some more things than you have, okay, but that is this chapter 1 directory has all your images and everything. All right, so what we're looking for is the florist. All right, so not great, right? You only see a little bit of the corner of this. Okay, and then we're going to change the size mode of this image, and we're going to change that property to stretch image. All right, and there's 2 ways to do this. We can choose it in the properties here to choose stretch image, or we can hit this tag here, this smart tag, and say size mode is stretch image. So stretch image will make the image fit in the box. So we're going to make our box a little bit bigger, like so. All right. And picture box 2, we're going to choose the image for that one. We need to import another image, and we're going to import the message. I'm not a big fan of putting this in this way, but this is the way that's being done. All right, we're just going to resize this so that that fits. And for this one, choose image. We're choosing the hours. All right, so this is generally it. Let me see here. Oh, they want these 2 to be the same size. I'm looking at figure 1-40, 1-40. And these 2 boxes are supposed to be the same size. Let me actually read the instructions here. Yeah, they don't really say much about it. So what I'm going to do is, let me change this one to stretch. And I'll actually make that a little bit smaller. There we go. And then I'm going to put my exit button down here in the corner. And you can see as I move this exit button, as soon as I line up with these other objects, it gives me a blue line. It kind of locks in there. And then I can lock it in on both sides. All right. And I can take this box and make it look like this. All right. Now, lock the controls on the form. So we're doing this so that we don't accidentally move anything as we're working on our form. So I just selected these objects. I'm going to click on the form. All right, so I have nothing selected. I click on the first image and I'm holding down Shift. And I click on the second image, the third image, and the button. And then I'm going to right click and lock controls. So now they're not moving anywhere. And then I need to code the exit button and add comments as shown in figure 1-40. So if we want to code the exit button, I'm going to double click on that exit button and it gives me the code editor. All right, this is the code behind our form. And when somebody clicks on this button, what are we going to do? We're going to take me, that's our form that we're working on right now, and we're going to close it. All right, simple as that. I'm going to add some comments here. Okay, good. So I did that kind of fast. So a comment is just a single apostrophe or a single quotation rather. And I'm just going to tab in to make this all lined up nicely. There we go. So we have the comments in there. And what this is saying is our main form, when somebody clicks on the exit button in there, we want to close the form. All right, save it again. Now at this point, our form actually does something. So I would like to test this, and peeking ahead, that's actually where we're going. They want us to go to the project designer window, which I believe would be double clicking on my project and just making sure that the startup form is FRM main. So we're going to start, when we run the application, it's going to start with FRM main. Change the name of the executable, which is here as the assembly name. We're going to call this My Florist. And then save everything, Control S to save it. Close this window and start the application. So we're going to hit the start button here. And this is my application. Okay, it's running. I click on exit and it closes. All right. Other things that this does, notice we can't maximize. Notice that it's centered in the middle of the screen when we started running it. Okay. So all good things. We remember we named our form Florist Haven, so it appeared there. Also, it's right here in our taskbar, Florist Haven. And that was all of exercise 1. On exercise 2, we're going to continue with this application. All right, they want us to rename the solution folder. I'm not going to do that. I don't think that's really necessary right now. Change the name of the picture box that displays the hours. That's this one here. I'll go to the properties of this picture box, and we're going to name it Pick Hours. Okay, so I selected this object. I went to the properties, and I set the name of this object to Pick Hours. The Pick Hours control should not be visible when the application is started and the interface appears on screen. Set the appropriate properties. So not even telling us what to set. All right. But we have all these properties that we can set, and we don't want this visible when it starts. So we could run through this list of properties and see if anything kind of gives us an aha moment. And if we start at the bottom, we see visible, true. All right, we're going to set that visible with false. So when the application starts, those hours should not be visible. Okay? It's there, it's just not visible. And I'm a big fan of saving often and running the application often to see if what the change that we just made is actually doing what we think it's going to do. Okay, unlock the controls. Okay, so we're locked right now. Earlier when I selected those individual items to lock it, I should have just selected the entire form because it'll lock everything in the form. So I'm going to right click on the form. And what I don't like is you see the lock up here that's showing that it is locked. I feel like this should say unlock controls, but anyway, now it's unlocked and we can move things around. And Control Z will undo what you've just done. All right, so we unlock the controls. That is 2C. And modify the interface as shown as figure 1-41, which means we need 2 more buttons. So I'm going to drag a button there. I'm going to drag a button here. This button will be called, well, the text on this button is going to be, all right, and the text on this button is going to say ampersand hide hours. And the hide hours button is going to be called BTN hide. And the show hours button is going to be called BTN show. All right, so we have 2 buttons. We renamed them and we added some text to them. I'm going to resize them as well. Oh, did I have to do that? Yeah, because see, show hours isn't fitting on there. So I want all my buttons to be the same size. I'm going to choose all 3 of those. If I click on one of them and then hold down Control or Shift and check the other ones, now when as I resize them, they're all going to resize at the same time. All right, and I want them big enough that they hold the text of all of them. So there we go. I've done that. I want these buttons. Well, what do I want? I want show hours to be lined up on the side of this graphic here. And I want the exit to be lined up on the right-hand side. And hide, I want it in the middle. Let's see. And I'm just ignoring the, okay, so we can't do that. Excellent. I didn't want to do that. I want to use the layout toolbar to do this. So I have show is lined up on the left side. Exit is lined up on the right side. And hide is somewhere in the middle. Okay. I'm going to choose all of these buttons. And if you don't have the layout toolbar visible, you can go to View, Toolbars, Layout. All right. And on the layout toolbar, I'm going to say Align Bottom. So it's this one that shows, it kind of looks like a bar chart. There's a line on the bottom and there's 2 images. When you hover over, it says Align Bottoms. When I click on that, now they're all lined up on the bottom. And then I also want to distribute the horizontal space equally. So that's this one. Not a big change. Hide hours was already really close to the middle there. Okay. Now my buttons are really nicely lined up with all my other items on the page. Not exactly how 1-41 looks, but I think mine looks better. Okay. So we did, we need to code the show hours and hide hours buttons. The show hours button should display the control when the button is clicked, and the hide should hide it. So don't write all this out, okay? Don't write private sub BTN show _ click sender as object e as event args blah blah blah, right? Just double click on show hours, and it gives us the sub procedure when somebody clicks on show hours. So think about this. If somebody clicks on that button, what do we want to do? We want to take the visible property of pick hours and set it to true. So when we show hours, we want that to be true. So I'm going to say pick hours. And look, I start typing pick and it tells me, hey, I think you want pick hours. Yes, I do. Dot. All right, what property you want to change? Oh, look, there's visible. It's recommending that we want to change the visible property. Why is it recommending this? Well, probably because we overrode this setting from the get-go. All right, so you can use your arrows to move around here. Yep, I want visible. I think if you hit tab, there you go. Tab will select that. Pick hours.visible is equal to true. Again, I hit equals, I type T, and Visual Studio is like, hey, I think you want true. Yes, I do. I hit tab, that's done. Save this, let's run it. When my application runs, hey, what are the hours? Click on show hours, there they are. All right, and hide hours is very similar. Pick hours dot visible is equal to false. All right, again, Control S to save, F5 to run it. Here's show hours, here's hide hours. All right, if I hit show hours like 100 times, it doesn't really matter. I hit hide hours once, it goes away. All right, that was D. And E is save the solution, test the applications. When you're happy with it, close it. All right, so that was 1 and 2. So we're all done with that. So if you recall, if I don't want to talk about Blackboard too much because we're switching LMS next semester, but just look at the rubric, make sure you did all these things. This lines up with the book and shows you the scoring and everything. We're not just submitting one file. Okay, so I'm going to close my application. I'm coming over here. Okay, Visual Studio. I have it in this Visual Studio 2015 projects. I'm gonna have to change this. Anyway, here's the Florist folder. Okay, so I'm going to, let me just close that. I'm going to take this Florist, I'm going to right click on it and send to compressed zip folder. So now I have florist.zip, all right, and it has a little zipper on it. If you don't see the .zip, make sure you go to View and File Name Extensions needs to be checked, all right? It's very important this whole semester that File Names Extensions is checked. And then this is the file that I'm submitting. I can just drag it over here and it's uploaded and that's it. That is your submission. Go ahead and hit submit and you've done 1-1 and 1-2.